Yeah. Let me take a quick look. And you're listening to the Doug Stewart Show. The number to the show is 404-382-0338. You can also email me at doug@thedougstewartshow.com. It's a wrap. It's pretty much a wrap. Let me make sure of this. I'm looking at the Doug Stewart Show bracket on CBS Sports. So we actually had two brackets. So I need to look at both of them. Let me make sure. I'm correct. Best score, 148. Best possible, 130. Best possible. Yeah, it's a wrap. It's a wrap. My man Kevin Bunning is going to win the Doug Stewart Show March Madness Bracket Challenge. He's going to win it. 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 Right now, Kevin Bunning has a score of 116. His best possible score is 148. He has North Carolina winning it all. He does. Coming in behind him is my cousin Tyrone Simmons. But Tyrone, the best score that he can get, he has North Carolina as well, but the best score he can get is 124. He has 92 right now. Then followed up by D.C. Cavalier and Derek Carroll and Tyson Patrick at fourth and fifth, respectively. Let me make sure and look at this other bracket. We had two brackets. It was a little mix-up, but looking at the scores from the other bracket, Conrad Cozy can get in the top five with a final score of 130. So he'll actually come in. And who does he have? I don't see who he has winning it all. And I don't know why it's showing me this view. But Conrad Posey, I think his best possible score is 130 points. So he can come in the top five, but at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. My man Kevin Bunning has North Carolina winning it all. Congratulations on winning the Doug Stewart Show Bracket Challenge. Congratulations. Damn. Yeah. So I'm looking at this and making sure that anybody, there's one person, Holly Newsom. Holly Newsom picked Gonzaga. But if she does, let's look at this. Wait a minute. Best 148, best possible. Nah, Holly Newsom can't win either. She's too far behind right now in points. She has 82 points right now. Kevin Bunning has 116. And she's the only person, it looks like, in the top 10 that took Gonzaga. But even if Gonzaga wins, it won't be enough points to surpass my man Kevin Bunning. I'm not sure. You know what? Let me back off of that for a second. Let me back off of that. So it's hard to decipher how this thing works out. So Holly Newsom right now has 82 points. Kevin Bunning has 116. Bunning has North Carolina. So if he were to win, I think this is the way it reads. If he were to win, he would have 148 points. If Holly Newsom wins, picks Gonzaga, her best score would be 114. I'm pretty sure I'm right. Kevin Bunning is going to win no matter what, because even if Gonzaga wins, she doesn't have enough room to jump past him. So I think Kevin Bunning's going to win, but we'll give the official announcement tomorrow. How about that? Let's just say that. Yeah. Let's just say that. Let me read some messages in the chat room on Spreaker.com. He says, from KC, if someone picked Gonzaga, shouldn't they win? Nah, it doesn't work like that. I mean, they accumulate your points in each round, and I think the more rounds that you advance, the more points that they give. And so she may have Gonzaga, but she may not have had a team, outside of Gonzaga and maybe one other team in the 32 as much as Kevin Bunning, or in the 16, or in the Final Four. And so you accumulate points each round, so it's not necessarily the case if you pick the winner that you're going to be able to win and leap everybody that you have in front of you. From Fly Tie, he should want some playing time. I don't know what he's talking about. From, who do we have here? From Redland, them Lady Cox Kirk. Seems that women's finals are better to watch when UConn is not in it. Last year, UConn won by 31 points. In the last 4 Final Fours UConn was in, they won by an average of 24 points. Is UConn bad for women's basketball? That's a very good point. And I mentioned that a little bit earlier, man, is, the best high school girls players, they play for Tennessee and UConn. Mostly UConn. Like Tennessee used to have, I guess, a brand advantage over UConn slightly, but not by much. But like for the last 10 years, man, it's all UConn. All UConn. Yeah, I mean, it's been all UConn. From Fly Tie, glad Thornwell stayed home and got another kid, Williamson, that's very likely to stay. From Thorny Switcher, you don't have to pick a true winner to win. Interesting. Nah, it's built on points. It's based on points. I think you get a lot of points in this tournament if you pick Gonzaga. Like, if you pick Gonzaga and Gonzaga wins the national championship, you get a ton of points on that one pick as compared to the previous rounds. You get less picks, less, and further that you go back. So I don't know exactly, but so in the first round, in the field of 64, if you win, you may get a point. If you pick a winner in the next 32, then you probably get like 4 points. And then if you pick somebody in the 16, right, you probably get like 8 points. That's not the exact scale, but it goes up each round that you pick in the tournament. It's not evenly proportioned, and you don't get more points for the championship game. From Sly Lady Gamecock Sports Guy, UNC, USC, Duke, is Zion Williams top 3. Talked to his stepdad 2 weeks ago. He is leaving toward USC. From Derek, why was UCLA men's teams bad for basketball back in the day? They probably were bad for college basketball. Yeah, I would think so. I mean, and when you say bad for an entire sport, that's in relative terms. If you were a UCLA fan when they won, 10 championships out of 11, I'm sure it was a pretty good thing for you in that fan base. But as far as competitiveness and parity, where you have competitive games, where people don't know there's automatically going to be a blowout shellacking, and that's pretty much what you had this weekend, or what you've had over the last couple of years with UConn women. You just knew they were going to win. Not only were they going to win, they were going to dominate. Like I mentioned earlier, they beat Mississippi State last year in the tournament by 60 points. How could that happen? So I guess from an aesthetic standpoint and watching the game and watching a competitive game, I think games are always better and they're more interesting when they come down to the very end. Where it's a competitive matchup. But if you beating everybody you play by 30, 40 points, man, I mean, people get tired of all that. Ain't nobody trying to see all that. From Sluggo X Squad, he says the only people who have Gonzaga in the championship games are alums and WCC fans. I would guess. Like, to pick Gonzaga, well, you know what? I take that back. Now, remember, Gonzaga was the number 1 seeded team for, a large majority of the season this past year, talking about the men's. They were for a large part of the season, man. They were ranked the number 1 team in the country. They were a number 1 seed in the tournament. So I understand what you're saying. We've watched Gonzaga come up short just a little bit every year, seemingly, for like the last 15 years. Or they've been very competitive. They've been a tournament team. They play good basketball, but at the end of the day, they just didn't have enough, McDonald's All-Americans, 4 or 5-star recruits to vie against the Kansases of the world and the North Carolinas of the world in college basketball. So I'm pretty sure there were more people that picked Gonzaga to win it all this year than maybe in the past. But, yeah, for the large part, most college basketball fans didn't think Gonzaga was going to have a chance to win it all this year. They got a damn good chance in playing in the national championship game tonight. From DC Cavalier, UCLA basketball back in the days was much different. Could you explain a little bit more, DC Cavalier, old school, rough buff? Doug has never talked this much about women's sports. You're right, never. from Sluggo X Squad, parity is important. That's why the NFL product is so good any given Sunday. Exactly right. Exactly right. That's why sports and free agency and the draft, they occur like they do, because you have to have a competitive product on the floor. If you got one team that's just dominating and they do this for a while, a year, 2 or 3, man, at some point it's not fun. And so if you're the worst team in basketball or football, usually you'll get the first pick in the draft unless you traded it away like a dumbass earlier or something like that for another player that didn't do your team any good. But, yeah, if you're the worst team in basketball, you get the number 1 pick in the draft to help your team. Or that's how it's supposed to work. Or just silly-ass lottery I hate. So that's the way it works. Same thing in football. Same thing in baseball. You know, you have to try to make the weaker teams better so that you can maintain some parity in said league. And once again, if you're the best team, you get the worst pick in the draft. New England Patriots won it all this year. They get the last pick in the draft. That's the way it has to be. And the reason for that is because of parity. All right? And so if you put such of an emphasis, it kind of speaks to the point of parity, that you put so much emphasis on waiver wire position, if you know how that works. You know, if you have the last time that you got a guy off the waiver wire, you actually go to the bottom of the list. If you got an actual player off the waiver wire, you go to the bottom of the list and picking up a free agent or a guy that was put on waivers by the team. If you haven't made a waiver transaction, you're at the top of the list or further up the list. Same thing in the draft. If you're a good team, you get the last pick. If you're a bad team, you get the first pick. And so it's all about parity. It's all about parity. And watching UConn dominate for the last couple of years, last many years, I mean, it's not good. It just can't be good. There's no way it can be good. There's no way. You're right. Enough of this women's basketball. Yeah! All hail the Queens! All hail the Queens. The number to the show is 404-382-0338. You can also email me at Doug@theDougStewartShow.com. When we get back from the break, man, little baseball talk. Just a little bit of baseball talk. I mean, we had opening day yesterday, kind of like, I don't know what you'd call it, because I think today, most baseball people say today is opening day, because you have more teams play today, I guess. But yesterday, we had opening day. We'll talk a little bit of baseball, man, and also some NBA talk from last night. And going down the stretch in the NBA, we'll get into some of the highlights of the action last night in the league, the association, some football talk a little bit later. Hour number 3 of the Doug Stewart Show, we're going to talk to my man Keith Holt from Ringtime Pro Wrestling and get his thoughts on Wrastlemania 33, entertainment up in the hour number 2. A lot to do. Don't go away. The Doug Stewart Show.
People all over America are tired how cops kill and beat innocent people for no reason. This is what we have to look forward to all over the place. Look how quick, within a matter of days, they were able to go into a martial law status here in Ferguson.
I was a victim a long time ago. When Sneaker Pete used to roam the foe. I seen it then and as a kid, and now my kids see it. We need to break them down to bacon bits, them dirty pigs. Killing us off like we cattle at the slaughterhouse. Come in the house is all I heard from my mama's mouth. I stayed out, me and my crew were often singled out. Late nights of green smoking at my partner house. We walked the streets trying to catch a little jug. Popo tripping got me laying on his hot hood. I stuffed my bum between the seats of his patrol car. And all this shit over a DC-6, that's cold, boy. He could've let the brother go, that's that bullshit. Now I'm on the prayer list, straight out the pulpit. And when they threaten us, it make me wanna pull shit and let it go in their direction. Here ended the lesson.